My name is Holly Waddington and I'm the costume designer of Don't Look at the Finger. So Hatane and I started a long time ago looking at Japanese fashion designers like Issey Miyake, Comme des Garçons, Yohei Yamamoto, but also we looked at Japanese samurai costumes, particularly the sort of fencing gear that they wore for rehearsals. From that sort of initial image sourcing, brainstorming ideas, we then needed to sort of get into fabric and start actually exploring some ideas. It was a simple exercise in just getting clothes that exist, real clothes, and hacking them up and seeing what happens if you split the skirt and wrap it around the shoulders. We learned very quickly that we could take quite an ordinary dress and make something quite Japanesey through a few simple cuts and a few simple folds. And that's because in Japanese culture, it's all about folding and there being a distinct space between the body and the cloth. And that just happened very naturally. The print on these costumes is really key. There's a really fascinating history of these Dutch wax prints that Hatane and I really enjoyed exploring. Also, there's a theatricality to the costumes in the way that they operate, so they transform from being one thing into something completely radically different, and that involves the sort of devices that are used by puppet makers, which is why Kate Whitehead, who made the costumes, is predominantly a puppet maker. She has really been instrumental in finding technical ways to make the things which transform. One of the rules of these transformations was that we shouldn't have other costumes laid on, and I was concerned that we would end up with these quite mean dresses with not enough fabric to create the kind of wumpa that we wanted. And actually, I was wrong. As soon as we started chopping into these dresses, there's an enormous amount of fabric as soon as you release it.
The other thing is, I mean, you want everything to be done by the...
Kate and I will be keeping a very close eye on those costumes, and we'll have to arrange the shoot. This is very unusual, in such a way that will be very much determined by the various sequence of costume changes that have to happen. I think the way that the costumes transform emphasise this idea of having your expectations just completely turned upside down, and where the costumes start out is something that we all recognise, you know, a West African family in attire that could be connected to church or a wedding or some sort of special occasion. But what happens in this ceremony is that the costumes become transformed into something really other, and they're a sort of hybrid of many different cultures' costumes. So whilst there's a sort of predominantly Japanese thread to the sort of outcome, they're also drawing on Indian, Mongolian, Russian. There's a lot of different cultures going into those costumes, and I think that the whole point of them is that they should challenge your expectations.